All right. Happy Wednesday. Hump day. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Yo, what are you doing back there? You go where you're needed, sir. All right. How you guys doing? Welcome. Hope you guys have had a good week so far. Was gonna do a the Monday after show. I love the name of that too, by the way. I love the name, the Monday after. Oh, it just sounds so, I don't know, cool. Can I say that? Sounds cool. All right. Shout out to Apex Tattoo Studio, the newest sponsor of Tuss Talk with Ty. You guys, if you're in our Discord, you can see their link in Discord. It's below the direct service overhead. Direct service overhead may be Hogville sponsor, but I kept them there because, you know, they're good at what they do. Number one, they offer quality service and all that stuff. But Travis is a good dude, and I'm gonna keep direct service in that Patreon or in the Tuss Talk with Ty sponsor page. So it's just gonna stay there. It's just gonna stay there. Apex Tattoo Studio, though, give them a call today. Set up your appointment to get some ink. 615 West Oak Street in Rogers, Arkansas, 72756. Give them a call, 479-278-2694. Again, that's 479-278-2694. Did you like that ad? They got an ad put together. How sweet was that? That's pretty cool. I hope it worked because I had to step away for a minute while that was going on. All right. You guys know you know what to do. You know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff, all the cool, fun stuff. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, my goodness. We got A&M coming up. You just came out of an ugly game versus Bobby Petrino in Missouri State, the Bears. Why don't they just switch it up, call themselves the Bruins? That's just such a cooler name. Next year's schedule, we do have that. We have next year's schedule. I've got issues with it. I was on Mark Rogers this morning. Did a recording with him this morning. We talked about the scheduling. It's not pretty. I thought about breaking that down and putting that in the title. I don't know. Maybe I'll cut it up and post it as a separate video or something talking about it. But young Ty with the sauce. What's going on, Hog Thought? How you doing, man? Ty the GOAT. Not in love with next year's schedule. Nobody is, man. Nobody is. And I feel you. I feel you, Cameron. SEC screws us again in scheduling, says Eagle. Ty, a media GOAT. I wouldn't go that far. Florida should be a home game, in my opinion. Yeah, so you know how that worked out is because they don't view the 2020 as part of the regular scheduling, the year in, year out scheduling routine, you know, where you cycle out certain opponents. No, that year they just thought it would be cool if they gave us Georgia and Florida. Wasn't that just lovely of the front office, of the SEC front office? I say the front office, the people that are in control of all that. Isn't that just lovely? We're going to give you, in that year, Florida, and obviously we know how good Georgia was that year, but Florida wasn't bad. Florida was a pretty good opponent. And it was just absurd. It was absolutely absurd. So this schedule is poop. I don't like it. I don't know how to feel about opening up in Little Rock. I don't know how to feel about that. So you know what? Forget it. Let's just start right there. Where's that dadgum schedule? Did you guys see the truck? I guess the equipment team got like a new truck. Good Lord, that thing is sweet. That thing is sweet, man. I don't think there's a single forward-facing hog on that thing anywhere, and that was given to him by J.B. Hunt. God bless J.B. Hunt. God bless him. Oh, it's so lovely. Where's that schedule at? Where is it? Well, I had it here. What if we just go to Razorbacks.com? How about that? But you open up down in there it is. Down in Little Rock, Western Carolina, the Catamounts, September 9th, you're back in Fayetteville playing Kent State, and then you got BYU on the 16th. You have LSU on the road on the 23rd. Okay, that has got to be the earliest Arkansas has ever played LSU. Correct me if I'm wrong, 2020, and I forgot to look this up when I was talking with Mark Rogers earlier. I don't even think in 2020 they played them that early. 2020 just that whole year is just it just feels like it went by. It's like the year never happened. But I don't think they played LSU that early in the year. And then you've got A&M down in Arlington. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the end of the contract, is it not? Next year down in Arlington against A&M. Isn't it supposed to go back to a home and home? Or unless they extend it? Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then you're on the road against Ole Miss, at Bama, and then you have Mississippi State, and then you have your bye week. That's 8 opponents before you get to your bye week. That's 8 opponents. And Arkansas very well could be breaking in a new quarterback. God only knows what they're going to look like next year. All these transfers that will probably, I would say, possibly not come back next year on offense. You might have a whole different look. I mean, Rocket, he can't go. He's not eligible for the draft yet. That's not going to happen until next year. Hopefully you still have A.J. Green and you have some of these pieces back. DeBinion is back. But you could look at the offensive line. Look at all the newness you're going to have. Oh, now we're going to wait till you get 8 games. 8 games. That's how deep we're going to go. That's the latest bye week I could remember. And then after that, you're going down to Gainesville to take on Florida. You host Auburn. You host FIU. And then you host Mizzou. The month of November, honestly, outside of going to Florida, it finishes nicely. Auburn, FIU, and Mizzou. God only knows what Auburn's going to look like. What about Mizzou? Do they hang on to Drinkwitz? What do you guys think? Let's say they miss a bowl game, do they hang on to Drink? We know that I just don't think Harson's coming back at Auburn next year. And I don't know a damn thing about FIU. I don't know anything about them. I don't know. I mean, I know they're obviously not a P5 school, but I don't know what's going on with them, what they look like as far as their staff. And, teams like that, though, here's the thing. Teams like that, similar to Cincinnati, you got to be careful of the transfers, right? You cannot overlook the transfer portal has changed everything. And the same thing can be said of Kent State, Western Carolina, you name it. Those smaller schools you cannot overlook anymore. You can't do it. I think last week is a pretty good example of that. I think the Fighting Petrinos kind of showed us that, right? I don't like the schedule in terms of the way the bye week lines up. I don't like that I agree. I don't like that they have to go back to Florida. I think that is BS. You already, like, that game should be in Fayetteville. I don't like how long it takes you to get to your bye week. When you think about, again, all the newness that could be happening, hell, maybe even on both sides of the ball. And you got to go 8 games before you dive into your bye. That's asking a lot. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. What's up, Hoyt? How you doing, man? All right. If you haven't seen it already, we have a sticker video for you guys. I'm not gonna share it here, but we have stickers have been shipped out. I don't have any here with me because I shipped them all out. I had a guy, our Walmart order. We do the thing where the delivery, right? Really nice guy. Pulled up he was wearing all Arkansas gear from head to toe. Had a really, a pretty nice vehicle with all sorts of Razorback logos all over it. The license plate, the sticker, big old sticker on the back. And we got to talking a little bit. Told him I worked with Hogville. Told him I run the Tuss Talk with Ty YouTube, and I kind of do my thing. He was really cool, really nice guy. I'm not going to say I'm not going to throw that out there. I'm not going to put his name out there. But he had some bad stuff happen. I felt for him. So I gave him a couple stickers. I mean, that's the least I could do. And I think we tipped him pretty good, too. I'd have to talk with my wife. But, and what sucks about that now is it has you give the tip before you even get the delivery. So now I feel bad. I want to go back, give him an extra $10. Super nice guy. And I don't know if he's watching this or not, but shout out to him. Really, really cool guy. Really unfortunate. Everyone has to deal with some struggle in their life. Everybody does. His story was, kind of moved me a little bit. I was like, man, I feel pretty bad for you. So I don't know. The least I could do is if I had some cash, I would have given him cash. But who carries cash anymore? It's 2025. Okay, is that Arlington? Is it really 2025? Okay, so I think at one point it was 2023, but then they extended it, right? And that's why it goes on for a couple more years. I seem to remember that coming up. 2 of our quote-unquote home games, we have to travel when we already have a brutal away schedule. I don't want to go on that tangent, but I don't. I have mixed feelings about Arlington. I have mixed feelings about playing there, and you guys know where I stand on Little Rock. I have talked with a lot of Little Rock people. Had a guy talk to me about the Little Rock Stadium debate at a tailgate before Cincinnati. We got to talking about it a little bit. It was moving. I mean, listening to him talk about all the memories and stuff and everything, all the good memories and the good vibes and everything he's, the tailgating experience and going there with his kids and all this stuff. I hear him. It's a great opportunity for people around the state to get to go to those games, whereas Fayetteville's a little bit harder for them to get to. I understand that. And I've also said, I can't remember where I said this at. Oh, it's when I had DJ Williams on Hogville. You guys need to go check that out. I think DJ killed it, former tight end, former Razorback. But I said, I think people, don't get me wrong, NWA's diehard. They got some great Hog fans up here. I'm born and raised up here. This is my neck of the woods, Fayetteville, Springdale, Farmington. I know this area well, right? When you talk about those towns, Greenland, Lowell, Goshen. But, know a lot of fans. They're doing this, doing what I do here. There is passion, right? They'll travel. A lot of people will travel down to Little Rock. People all over the state come to Fayetteville. And I understand that. But it's costing you money, and it's a huge recruiting disadvantage. I don't care who your head coach is, right? I don't care who it is. Petrino, who was a so-so recruiter, to Sam Pittman, who's a really good recruiter and a great talent evaluator. I think Petrino was too, though, as far as evaluating talent. Doesn't matter. You need every recruiting advantage possible. I don't like that you got to spend all this money and time just to go to Little Rock for a home game and then turn around and have to go to Arlington every year. Doing that, well, it's Arlington every year, and then it's Little Rock every other year, right? And I think they're supposed to do spring games down there. I don't know, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't like that Arkansas that from a fan's perspective that puts you at such a disadvantage. So every other year you've got 2 games where you're not in Fayetteville that should be in Fayetteville, right? Depending on how those line up with A&M versus home and away. But I don't know. One game, hell, is too many for me. One game, I don't care if it's just one game a year. That's too many. That's why I've got mixed feelings about going down to Arlington. It cannot be an official visit with prospects. Can't. And you guys know how big those are. So next year you're going to have 2 games that are away from a place where you can send kids on an OV. And that's unfortunate. I get it, man, and I hear people down in South Arkansas. I've talked with people, and I can remember when I first started Discord. One of the first heated debates I got in a DM back and forth with was a guy over this very issue. It's a passionate issue for some people, but I don't know. I think it's time to pull them out. I think it's time to get out of Little Rock. Tyzilla, been a while. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, Patrick? Hope you're doing well. Why is A&M not home and home? It's Jerry Jones. I mean, that's why. It's Jerry Jones, and that's an awesome connection to have. Great alumni. He's giving you money. You've got a great facilities on campus thanks to him. But it's like, man, Jerry, we can't bring recruits, man. Yeah, there's the Discord link. Haas has it linked for you. I don't know what GFY means, Marco. What does GFY? I'm old. What does GFY mean? Little Rock GFY. Little Rock. One of you youngins tell me what GFY means. Evening, Ty. Rocking it tonight, bro. Appreciate that. Tuck. Thank you. Why is A&M? Already read that. Little Rock worked for us in the past. Doesn't work with the current environment, and I live in El Dorado. Yeah. And I do, like, man, I've got great memories down there. I've had, I've been to some, okay. Little Rock, he's telling Little Rock to go blank itself, or is he telling me that? Marco, I hope you're not telling me to do that. We've got a good rapport, you and I, Marco. I hope you're not telling that to me. I agree that it worked in the past. Again, great memories, great games, but it's just you need every advantage you can get these days. We don't need to play in Arlington. Jerry Jones knows we love him. Yeah. Listen, man, if you could take recruits, I still feel like in some ways when we talk about cost, we talk about, that being yet another game that's not in Fayetteville every other year. I still struggle with it, but at least if you could bring recruits, but per NCAA rules, you cannot. Loved going to Little Rock when LSU came down. Yeah, it's some great games. I saw Little Rock down there a couple times. Oh, you're telling Little Rock that. Okay. All right. I was like, come on, Marco. I know you don't dislike that too much, right? My take on that. LSU moved up in schedule next year. Yeah, they did. We talked about that. I'm kind of surprised by that. Andrew Salter says, Ty, apparently I'm the hog expert at my job, and keep asking me what I think about A&M game. I say 2-score game for the Hogs. Yeah, we'll talk about that Friday. Love the show, Ty. Would never tell you to do that, buddy. I figured, Marco. We have a good rapport, you and I. We have a good rapport. But yeah, I think the schedule, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, I hate it, blah, 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 cranky old guy. But it's just, man, I don't like starting off in Little Rock. I don't, your home game, your Kent State game you like that you got BYU and Fayetteville, which is awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. You get Mississippi State at home, which clearly is whatever, but Florida on the road, I wish that was in Fayetteville, but you get Auburn and Mizzou and FIU. I would say the home slate kind of sucks, right? Like, you got to go to Ole Miss and then to Bama and then turn around the following week and host Mississippi State, and then you get your bye week. There's a couple of things I really don't like about the schedule. I'd say the biggest glaring issue for me is how late in the year you've got that bye week. Maybe I'd feel a little bit better with like this year's squad. And look, it always depends on who you have after the bye week, right? That's always what seems to matter the most. And you get Florida. I mean, at least you get the bye week before you've got to travel down to Gainesville. So there is that, right? You can turn every negative into a positive, but I think there's going to be a lot of newness with this team and that schedule. So, yeah. There's your and more part. Ty, you for or against us being the underdogs in this game? I think I think with their performance last week, they deserve to be the underdogs. I think with their performance against Missouri State, they don't deserve to be favored in this game. I know it's A&M. I do think Arkansas is better than A&M, but we know that doesn't always translate down in Arlington. That doesn't always go the way we think. Just because you believe you're better. And I think some years, even during that long losing streak, I think they were better. They still found ways to lose that game. And we're going to talk about some stats and stuff here in a second. We're going to get into it, and I'm going to tell you some things that are troubling, and I'm going to tell you some things that are promising. But yeah, I think they deserve to be underdogs. A&M's coming off a win over a ranked Miami team. Yeah. Does Fayetteville look down on us? Down in Little Rock? No. I mean, not, maybe in Bentonville. But they look down on everybody, right? Like, I've always gotten that vibe. I'm not going to get into it too much, but I've always gotten that vibe. When you go there, you just feel like, man, I'm blue collar, man. I don't feel like I belong here. Like, if you go eat at one of their nice restaurants, not that we do very often, but or like if you go and go to some event in Bentonville, you always just feel like, ooh, I don't know. But that's me. You can't. Maybe Bentonville's not really that way. I definitely don't think NWA. Listen, 90% of NWA is blue collar, right? The money is obviously Bentonville. It's Walmart. It's Tyson, JB Hunt, George's, whatever. Like. Yeah, you've got the vendors too that move down to be closer to Walmart in Bentonville. You've got a lot of transplants. Hell, you got people that look down on the University of Arkansas. But that's why I do believe, because of the amount of transplants up here, that's why I do believe the most diehard, true fans are outside of NWA. I absolutely believe that. With every fiber of my being, I think the most diehard fans are outside of NWA. Again, I'm not shitting on NWA people. I'm one of them. I am a Fayettevillean, born and raised. Lived in Elkins for like a year or two. I've lived in Springdale. I've got, my roots are all over the place up here, right? Madison County. I've got family in Madison County, Huntsville, Wesley, Arkansas, if you know where that's at. There's some diehard fans up here. A lot of them I'm related to, most of them, I feel like. But you go down, when you get outside of NWA, to the people who do travel to all the games, they go to the away games, they go to Fayetteville, those are the most diehard people, So, hey, I moved from Springdale to Bentonville a couple of years ago after living in Springdale and Fayetteville my whole life, and I look down on no one. Yeah, I definitely. You guys know me. I don't look down on anybody. We're all Razorback fans at the end of the day, and I know, as someone who, I still don't consider myself media. I just have such a hard time saying that. But I guess, you work for Hogville, you set up in a press box, you go to the coaching, you go to the Zoom calls with Pittman, you interview, I don't specifically interview, but, you're in on the interviewing process. I guess you have to consider yourself media. But I don't care. Like, I am a Hog fan. You guys know that about me, and I won't ever that's never going to change. I try not to wear Razorback gear to practice or to the games, though. You're not supposed to do that. That's a no-no. They won against a ranked team, yes, but lost to Appalachian State. Yeah, Hoyt, you also have to consider they did make a coaching or a quarterback change. I didn't. In fact, I picked A&M to beat Miami. I wasn't sold on Miami. I don't think Miami is I don't think they're a ranked caliber team. I think if you put them in the SEC West, that's always my measuring stick. I don't know that Miami does much better than like 8-4, 7-5, something like that. I don't think they're a very good team. Hell, I don't see them 8-4 in the SEC West. They're probably 7-5, 6-6, honestly. I don't buy into Miami at all. But yeah, they had a lot of issues against App State. But now you gotta be a little bit concerned about, did this game with Miami build their confidence up? I think they've settled in at quarterback, and I don't think that all that game was on that quarterback. I didn't watch every snap, but they've got some issues on the line of scrimmage. Yo, Ty, what's up, Scott? What's up, Kelly Marie? How you doing? I will admit I felt out of place, yeah. Make sure you guys like hit the like button. Hit the like button. Maybe you've got your headphones on, you put your phone down. Run back to your phone really quick and slap the like button. I know we can break 30. I know we could do it. If Rocket continues his success against good A&M defense, he has to start being talked about for the Heisman. It just depends on what he does, right? Like you said, if he starts off like what he's done these last 3 games, he will, if he has another, 150 total yards of offense, 150, 175 total yards of offense, a couple scores, and they do beat A&M at the same time. Now you're 4-0. You're probably a top 6, top 8 team at the very least, depending on what happens around you. Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation. Hell, I think he should be in the conversation now. I mean, really. So let's get into these stats really quick, guys, and keep posting your comments. I will read them as I go along here. We have some updates too. Miles Slusher, according to Pittman, he's going to be good to go. He's looked really good, quote unquote, practiced really well. Stewart should be good to go against A&M. Remember, he didn't dress out last weekend. Not that made a huge impact. Obviously, Arkansas decimated that line of scrimmage from the defensive line's perspective for Arkansas. They practiced indoors. I know because I was there Monday. I didn't go yesterday, but it was, as we were walking out there, pumping the music up and the crowd noise, and it was loud. I think Pittman said they worked at like high 90s decimals. Is that decibels, not decimals? Decibels, not decimals. My kid was talking about they've moved on to decimals in math. Ellie, my oldest, they've moved on to decimals. So I've got decimals on the brain. But that's good to, look, that's something that I think they've done every year. And so that's good. Get some good and prepared. Pittman wants to keep using Malik Hornsby in certain formations, so I think we're going to continue to see him line up a little bit at wide receiver. We didn't see as much of it last week. I think they're going to get back to that a little bit. I also heard him talk about Pro Football Focus. If you guys hadn't heard, I think was it Bo Limmer who was ranked the number 2 guard according to Pro Football Focus? I just posted those numbers. Again, Patreon people, I'm getting you something else. I just signed up for Pro Football Focus. I just signed up for it, and I've left you guys some little tidbits there. You guys should be able to see it. There's some Pro Football Focus numbers. Remember, you got to pay. It's either $90 or $9, $10 a month, I think, or it's like $80 or $85 for a whole year. I signed up for the year. Tax write-off, but I say that, but it won't be all written off. I'll get like probably 25% of it back. I don't know. I need to talk to my CPA about that. I need to get caught up. But, yeah, those numbers are there for you. I've got some. I still got some more work to do there. I'm going to try and keep you guys posted there. But Bo Limmer, Sam Pittman was asked about Pro Football Focus. Apparently they do use it. They use Pro Football Focus. And I've been touting Pro Football Focus around here for a while, going back to when their focus still is primarily the NFL, but I've been talking about PFF for years, man, since I first started this channel when PFF was getting off the ground way back in like 2017, I think is when I started talking about it. PFF is legit, and they do use it. So that was intriguing. But if you look at Bo Limmer, they talk about his year-by-year rating. 2019, if I'm looking at this right, I've never signed up. This is the first time I've ever signed up for it. This is the first time I've ever seen these numbers. 2019, he was rated at 67.3 on the PFF scale. 2020, he went down to 57.2. 2021, he went up to a 76.8. This year so far, he's at an 85.7 scale, which is, again, second highest, and that's based on 228 snaps. So Bo Limmer getting it done. Good for him. Again, if you are a Patreon supporter, you will see some of those things I've posted for you there that's PFF. It's not completely done. I've got KJ's numbers up. I've got the wide receivers numbers, but that's it so far. But it was really interesting to hear him talk about PFF. He also, I guess, a player on his team bragged about his numbers or something, and Pittman kind of cracked a joke about his uncle working for PFF. I don't know. But you should go listen to his interview or his when he talked with the media today. I wasn't able to sit in on it, but I thought that piece was interesting. Also, he talked about he was asked about Landon Jackson, the LSU transfer. He said that one of the reasons why he's earning more playing time is because he's jumping off the line of scrimmage faster. So he's a lot quicker. He said now you're seeing him jar some tight ends and really get in on some plays. Unfortunately, I haven't gone back and rewatched this game for a second time yet. I typically do that on either Sunday or Monday. If I'm unable to do it on Tuesday, that means I probably won't be able to do it on Wednesday. I'm hoping to go back and watch that game again. Probably not tonight, maybe tomorrow if I find some time. So, Rob R. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man? What's up, Ty? I'm very optimistic about our chances. The stats are what they are, but it's only 3-game numbers. That's a very good point. Dom John ain't sure about his knee, and it's pretty obvious since he didn't play last week. Yeah. Did you hear KJ? So we got a little clarification on why he didn't run. I don't know if you guys caught that, but they talked to him. I listened to part of that post-game interview. That was his decision to not tuck it and run. He wanted to sit back in the pocket and throw the ball a little more. That was fascinating. I've kind of wondered if Kendall wasn't, or Sam Pittman, somebody wasn't kind of trying to hold him down to prepare. Remember, we talked about it, I think, on the postgame show on Hogville Net YouTube, that maybe he was told, and it felt that way to me because he's averaging like 16 carries a game coming into this game, and I think he ran it, 8, 9 times? I felt like, okay, I feel like they were getting prepared to hold him back and to not have him as involved in the running game. That way you decrease the amount of body shots that he takes throughout a game. That wasn't the case. He said in that post game that was his decision to step back and throw it, and clearly that was the right angle to take. So I think losing Fouché and Brooks in the secondary was a bigger deal than we first realized. Something I got to admit, listen, I'll tell you when I think I was wrong. Now, the year we've still got some games left. There's still a lot of football left to be played. I felt like talent-wise they upgraded with Brinney and McLaughlin. And McLaughlin, by the way, is the highest rated secondary player right now. A quick glimpse at PFF. I didn't see another defensive back higher than him. Would that be different if Slusher, Catalan were playing? Of course. And I think Hudson Clark was going into the week. I didn't see Hudson Clark. I think Dwight McLaughlin was rated ahead of him. So yeah, I still think they upgraded talent-wise, but in terms of just what those guys, the kind of impact they had in the secondary, I guess I don't know, man. I don't want to say they downgraded, but it certainly seems like they are missing those two guys. Is it a communications thing? Obviously, Catalan not being out there has hurt them. Hudson Clark's doing just fine. The guy's taking a lot of heat, and you know what? I thought of all the guys in the secondary, he had probably the strongest game. I think they are really missing those two guys, Greg Brooks and Joseph Fouché. I think they are missing them. Fouché was a solid tackler, and I swear when there was a check down throw, the guy zipped in like a bullet. He came in out of nowhere and made plays. But that seems to be something they're missing out on. I think too, it's not really the corners as much just getting beat deep. I think it's just a lot of missed tackles. I don't know how many missed tackles they had against Missouri State, but I thought I heard someone say it was like 17 missed tackles. That has to be an exaggeration. If that's real, if it's somewhere between 15, 17, that's unreal. That is a lot of missed tackles for Coach Odom coached defense. That's a lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed opportunities. I think they had something like 225 yards after catch or something. Like, there's clearly something going on. I'm not saying the coverage has been perfect this year, because it hasn't, but something's going on there, man. And I think a lot of it is missed tackles. It's miscues. You know, the last couple of years, the thing that they did so well up until about the halfway point in the year was on those little check down throws or screen passes, whatever. You saw a whole swarm of the defense just on top of those guys. You know, whoever had that check down throw. If it was a running back out of the backfield, if it was a slant over the middle to the slot receiver, or a quick dump off throw off a hitch route to the tight end, whatever. They minimized the yardage on those underneath throws. This year, it's been the opposite. They're giving up a lot of stuff because they're missing tackles. And guys who I thought were sure-handed tacklers, guys I thought were really good, tacklers. Hudson Clark has missed more than a couple so far this year, and that's very unheard of for him. Say what you want about his speed, and I still think he's lacking speed. But it's like Otis said, and I agreed with him. He checks 9 out of 10 boxes. One of those boxes is tackling, which is why I think we heard Pittman talk about moving him up to safety. Because he's a good open field defender, open field tackler. But these guys are missing tackles, and it's creating a lot of positive yards for the opposing offense, and that's something they've got to get fixed. And clearly, it's the most obvious thing in the world to say, but I do believe that is the biggest issue. And they didn't tackle to the ground through fall camp. They didn't tackle to the ground in their scrimmages. They went the opposite of what they did in 2021, where they were really physical. Remember Pittman talking about that last fall camp, or the fall camp before the last, about how physical they were? It was a very physical camp. They didn't do that this year, and it's showing up. It's showing up on film. It's showing up when you watch these guys play. I hate to say it, but I don't believe. Let's see. I hate to say it. I don't believe KJ, but I think coaches let him know to run. Well, I don't know. That could be the case, but I don't know. He didn't really shake at the question. He didn't look around. It looked to me like he answered it pretty honestly. I don't know. Let's see. I know what he said, but it was so obvious that he wasn't running. It just seemed like there was another motive there, possibly. Yeah. We have. I think we have Kyle Spicer's burner. Although I thought Kyle Spicer was a burner I'm not sure if this is a threat or not. Will you be at the game, Ty? What, you mean in Arlington? No. I will be home. Can't wait to see your beautiful face. That sounds like a threat, and it sounds a little disturbing. We'll just see ya. Enjoy timeout, buddy. Bad number, higher from my view. Country boy, gonna get blown out Saturday, no secondary. Well, their offense isn't the most prolific through the air, but I will say if there was ever a weekend for a very not so great passing offense to have its weekend, this would be it. That's what concerns you, right? But they haven't. Their offense has been putrid. Their offense has been pretty bad. You know, it's gonna be an interesting game. There's a lot of different ways of looking at this. If A&M has 300 yards passing Saturday, this secondary is truly bad. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Trey Biddy and Sanders is most. Trey Biddy said Sanders is most talented defensive player Arkansas has ever had. I didn't hear him say that, but if he said that, I don't know that right now that he's inaccurate. It's tough to say because it's just 3 games. I don't see Trey saying something like that after just 3 games. But I give it some time, but he's off to a great start, no doubt about it. I mean, he's in the backfield a lot. With some notable exceptions, they don't seem to be playing as hard on defense this year. I kind of think this is a team as I kind of think this is a team as well. Just an observation, not trying to be overly critical. With some notable exceptions, they don't seem to be playing as hard. Yeah, they're just not swarming like they have been in the past, right? We have no tackle. A&M has way too much speed and talent. They'll make us pay way more than Missouri State. Half our passing defense has been given up on missed tackles, and I think that there's probably some accuracy to that for sure. They'll get it together and they'll figure it out. That said, the run game must be shut down. Trey said that on a walk and talk. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just saying it's early. Let's see where we're at in a few weeks. But I don't think he's off to an unbelievable start. That's for sure. All right, moving on to the stats really quick here. By the way, bumper pool past Sam Aljabutu and Scooter Harris for total all-time tackles. He's at 378. Sam Aljabutu had 372, and Dejon Harris at 371. Caleb Miller was at 368. For some reason, I thought Caleb Miller was up on that list. I thought Caleb was in like the 370s, 380s, or the high 380s. Cliff Powell at 367. Ronnie Caveness, some of you remember him, 357. Ricky Williams at 343. Yeah, country. I'm almost country. Do you go by another name? Do you go by Josh by chance? Just wondering. Let's look at total defense. Let's look at these numbers on total defense. Arkansas ranks 105th. 421 yards a game given up. Per game. That's nearly 6 yards per play. It's 5.82. It's important that we recognize it's not 6 yards. It's 5.82. I know someone's going to call me out on that, but yeah. Giving up 10 scores this year. 10 touchdowns. 421. That ranks 105 in the country. That's total defense. Run defense, right? Here's the bright spot. And you could say, well, it's because they're abandoning the run. But wait a minute. Through 3 games, the opponents have rushed the ball 92 times. That's the second most of the teams in this top 10 category. Ole Miss, the opponents have rushed the ball 107 times. Closest to that is the Rutgers. Their opponents have given up 89 They've rushed the ball against them 89 times. Arkansas has the second most rushing attempts given up, or opponents, the amount of times they run on you. That's the second most of these top 10. And Arkansas still has been stingy, giving up just 68 yards per game while giving up 6 rushing touchdowns. That's 2.23 yards per carry. Now, we have to factor in sacks. We've got to factor in, and that does have a huge impact. But still, they've not given up a 100-yard rusher yet to a single player. Not a running back anyways. And again, you're giving up just 68 yards a game. You can take sacks out of it. That's still, I think that number's, obviously it's going to be a little bit higher and you're probably out of the top 10, but I think you could also argue a lot of these numbers are skewed because of the amount of times they get sacks in a game or sacks so far through the first 3 games. And by the way, Navy's in, third, fourth, but they've only played 2 games. The opponents have only run the ball 62 times. So no, teams aren't completely abandoning the run because they can throw the ball in Arkansas. Their run defense looks to me pretty legit. And again, not saying that because they're top 10, just based on what I've seen either at the game or on television. Like I said, I need to go back, rewatch this last game, but I've been really impressed with their run defense so far. Let's hope they continue to let's hope they stay in that category, because I think if they do, and if they bring, obviously the secondary, those numbers have got to come up. The pass defense, we'll talk about where they're at here in just a second. But, 7th overall run defense right now in the country, trailing Clemson, Iowa State, Navy, Virginia Tech, the Rutgers, and James Madison. Third down defense. Now we're going to a negative. We're going to negative town here. You're ranked 92nd or 96th on third down conversion rates on defense. You're giving up third downs almost right at 40% of the time. It's not a good number. You obviously want to be way south of that. Red zone defense. Again, not the greatest number here. Teams are scoring 83% of the time. They're 68th in the country here. But let's get back into positive town again. How about Arkansas? 17 sacks through 3 games. I want someone to tag hogstats.com and ask them the last time that happened. What's the most sacks they've had through the first 3 games of the season? This has got to be in like that top 10 category. That's unreal. That's 5.67 sacks per game. A total of 127 yards in sack and yards lost from sacks. In the top 10, the closest to that is 96. That's Oklahoma. That's just in the top 10 based on what I'm seeing here. Through 3 games, 17 sacks. That's crazy. Tackles for loss. As you can imagine, Arkansas's in the top 20 there. When you're racking up sacks, that means you're probably pretty good at getting into the backfield. They're averaging 8 tackles for loss per game. They're 17th in the country behind Ole Miss and Southern California. Bobby Petrino will be Auburn's next head coach. That's a interesting take. We need to get to Johnson and force some turnovers. Hi, my guy Ty, Woo Damn Pig. What's up? The Drooby Dooby Doo Show. How you doing, man? That yardage won't be that high at the end of the game. What are you talking about? CB Stotts. What you talking about? Bryce Young will pick us apart like a high school team. Slush being back will be huge, says CFB with Ash. That's a pretty big get. That's someone, that's a 3-year guy. Slusher, I feel like we're just waiting on him to have that breakout year. It's hard for him to stay healthy, and I hope you get him back, and he's here to stay the rest of the year, obviously. They need him. I think we can all agree that that's a pretty big – getting him back would be huge. We also have to point out that we have forced teams to throw the ball late. Yeah, and there is that. While not worrying about them coming for a lead, we go real rubbery on defense and let them do what they want. Yeah, it's some of those. Who was it that made that argument? Actually, someone was making that argument. I don't remember who it was. Wasn't Paul Feinbaum. I can't remember who was making the argument, but they said, "Oh, it was Jimbo." Right? Did I say that at the beginning of the show? Was that here or was that with Mark Rogers? I don't remember. No, wasn't here tonight. But Jimbo made the claim that a lot of the passing yards given up are in the junk moments or when a game is about put away Arkansas striving to put a game away and they, the opposing team is in a position where they've got to throw the ball more, and that's something to account for. And I think that that's accurate, but I mean, still, it doesn't matter. At the beginning of a game, at the end of a game, you've got to be able to control. You've got to be able to control that the opposing passing attack, because it's kind of ridiculous. It just seems too easy. It just seems too damn easy for these teams to just sling the ball around. They won't have that many passing yards against Arkansas defense by the end of the year. Yeah, I think it gets corrected. I do. I don't know how much. I'm not saying they're going to make this massive jump, in terms of when you look at the stat sheet and where they're at in passing yards allowed per game. But I do think we're going to see that gradually over time, that number's going to come down. Maybe it starts against A&M. Then you have a moment where you got to play someone like Bryce Young. He rips you to shreds, which I think is going to happen in your secondary. But then, you follow that up maybe with a couple more games where you're not giving up near as many yards through the air. So it will eventually, I think, balance itself out to a degree. Someone's going to run the ball effectively against Arkansas. It's going to happen, right? I mean, this is the SEC after all. Jamie Do 21, what's up, man? I think you might be new here. I've never seen your name. Welcome. Hope you've subscribed. I'm going to go ahead and predict a blowout by Arkansas this Saturday. Mo State woke them up. They'll be focused on this game. I don't think Max Johnson is outscoring our offense. They've got a couple pieces on that offense. Right now, A&M's favorite, is it -2, Haas? I think it is -2. Well, it was like a 1.5, and I think maybe it is at -2. This will be our wide receivers' toughest test, and it'll be intriguing to see how they play. If we win, it'll be close, says Tercer. Let's look at some more stats here. Let's go into some more stuff. We talked about how they're kicking ass at getting to the quarterback. The bad is you're dead last in passing defense. Yeah, you're giving up 353 yards a game. Secondary, I mean, I feel like we're trying to beat a fart out of a dead horse, but man, yeah, this number's it's got to come up, and it will come up gradually, like I said a minute ago. But 353 yards a game, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's rough. If I'm reading this right, it says 4 passing touchdowns given up. I thought it was more than that. I thought it was like 6. They're saying 4 here. 8.47 yards per completion. Or no, that's yards per attempt. My bad. Yards per completion is actually 14.31. I thought that was a little low. Yeah, 14.31 yards per completion. That's just, guys, I mean, yeah. Just gotta do better. I don't know. Tackle somebody, for crying out loud. Let's look at the offense. How about Arkansas on third down? You're off to a pretty good start when you look at the third down conversion rate. Right, you're converting almost 49% of your third downs. That's not bad, and some of those have been third and long scenarios. The third down, I think third down play calling has gotten a little bit better. Now, we could talk about 4th and 9 all day long, and the decision to just give the ball up the gut to a freshman, to a rookie running back. I mean, it's just a bizarre call. I can understand if you got a 20-point lead. The game is close, 4th and 9, and you're running the ball. Just straight up give to the running back. Bizarre. I don't know, man. I know someone's going to I guess you should make millions of dollars and be a play caller, Ty. No, I have eyeballs. Anyone who's watched the game of football long enough knows that you're probably heading for a disaster. They sold out for the run. Why not check out of that and maybe do something that they did to you earlier on 4th and 1? They just dumped the ball off against zero coverage or cover zero. Why not do the same thing they did to you? They were selling out for the run. They knew what was coming. It was predictable, which was odd because I do think the play calling overall has been a little bit better this year. we've actually seen them throw it a little bit on first down. They don't look as predictable. Sometimes, yeah, they line up quick. They give the ball 3 yards. Run the ball again. They get up really quick. That high-tempo stuff. They give the ball off again. Now, just like that, you're looking at a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, or 3rd and 6, whatever. And that does happen because that's their MO. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hurry up and let KJ make the read. But I definitely want to see more 3rd and short situations. I think they've done a pretty good job of setting up 3rd and short. That needs to always be the case, especially obviously when you're in 4-down territory in these tight games. The 3rd down percentage needs to be up, right? You want to be 48% is not bad. That's good. Yeah, it's 31st of the country, but that's not far. That's not as far as you would believe from from being somewhere in the top 20. It's just a few spots away when you look at how many teams are tied at 50% on 3rd down. So more 3rd and short scenarios will set that up, and I want to see more of that. If you're going to face 3rd downs, obviously you want to see them 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and inches, whatever. With this offensive line, converting against most teams on this schedule shouldn't be as big of an issue. They weren't always great. There have been some times when they didn't get the kind of push that you want, but Ricky Stromberg and Limmer and those guys up front. Dalton Wagner's honestly played okay. Yeah, I want to see more 3rd and short scenarios. And then it kind of opens you up. If you do want to go to 4 down, or if you are in 4-down territory, it allows you to open things up a little bit and get a little spicy on your play calling on 3rd and 4th down. Rushing offense, Arkansas is 10th in the country. 243 yards per game. Can you believe Kansas is at 259 a game? They're ranked 7th in rushing offense. Can you believe that? 13 rushing touchdowns for KU. Say what you want, but not bad. Not a bad start for them on the ground. But Arkansas has 8 rushing touchdowns. Again, I really thought that was 10, but it's 8 according to the stat sheet. 5.1 yards a carry. What's Rocket at? 6.6 yards a carry? It's insane, man. 243 on the ground per game. I think they could end up, unless they really decide to spread their wings and try throwing the ball a little more this year, I really think they could end up similar where they were at last year, which was, I think, 7th. When the dust settled at the end of the year, they were 7th in rushing offense. I think they could do that again. I see them going back a little bit because I do think with the receivers they have, with the talent that they have there, you feel like they have opened up the playbook a little bit more. I think they do want to pass the ball a little bit more. I think you may see that number come down. If you do, I think it'll be because of that, not because of the offense, because the rushing offense is that much worse. You also have to realize, too, you're not a surprise anymore. Last year, you feel like you may have snuck up on a couple of teams, at least early on, right? Especially with the way you played against Rice. But obviously, your coming out party was against Texas, and it's not like after that you were still a surprise. But I still think in a way they kind of surprised some folks when they actually got on the field and played Arkansas. There's one thing watching them on film, and it's something else entirely to line up against this physical football team and having to deal with it. Well, some of these teams have dealt with it. The coaches kind of know what to expect. So that could also, have an effect. And maybe the rushing offense takes a couple steps back. I think they're going to be somewhere in the top 20, top 15. Again, only because they're going to spread the ball out a little more. They're going to try and throw the ball a little bit more. Red zone offense, again, this is another area I want Arkansas to improve in, right? Red zone offense, they are scoring about 85% of the time, which is great, but they're still right at about 64th. A lot of teams at that 85 percentile range, so it's hard to climb the ladder here. But I would definitely like for them to be a team that's walking away with a few more. I mean, look, they've got through 3 games. They do have a grand total of 10 touchdowns in the red zone on 14 attempts. That's not terrible. You've made 2 field goals. You're going to take that. That's 12 total red zone scores. But, you look at Washington, who's at 17. Number of teams there, although they're tied with you at the 85%, or actually they're a few spots behind you, but they're not far behind you if you look at the .850 versus the .857. But I would like for them to – obviously you would love to say at the 85 percentile as the year goes on. You'll take that. But I want them to be automatic, and I want there to be more trips to the red zone. I want there to be more trips. I want them to be a team that lives – on your side of the field. And that's going to take great special teams. That's going to take the defense doing their job, keeping the opposing offense backed up. That's going to be really hard to do because I don't know. They are a bend, don't break defense right now. But imagine if they get some of this stuff fixed. All of a sudden, you've got the ball instead of your 15, 20, 25, you're on your 40 or 35, 40, maybe 45 based on your punt return. You saw what we could do in the punt return game. Finally, I know they did it last year. I forgot about UAPB. I forgot. But you feel like now they're a little bit more legit. If they can decrease the penalties on special teams, for the love of God, you still feel like they're in the right direction. But just imagine if you could live on the other team or on the opposing team's side of the field a little more. And then you start racking up red zone attempts. And then you keep that 85 percentile in terms of percentage, scoring on their side of the field. It changes the whole dynamic of what your football team can be and what they are. Total penalties, this is a giant shit show. I am as concerned about the penalties as I am the passing yards given up. They are 94th in the country, 242 yards in total penalties. 242 yards through 3 games. That's 80 yards per game. You rank in total yardage, it's 118th in the country. Guys, that's horrible. This is a fixable situation when you're talking about penalties. Now you're going to be on a neutral site, a place where they have run into penalty issues inside, down in Arlington, the house that Jones built. You have run into issues when you talk about penalties there. This needs to be a place. It starts this week. That is horse shit. That's terrible. All right? 236 yards. Total penalties, that's 94th in the country. Yardage, it's 118th. Got to get that fixed, man. I mean, and that's something too. Some of it, you could say, oh, well, they got a lot of new faces on the offensive line or wherever. No, man. No. Warren Thompson got hit with 2 flags in a single game. I think he's been flagged at least twice. I know for a fact he's been flagged twice. He got a holding call and a false start. You got 4 or 5 starting offensive linemen back. You got Luke Jones, who's I don't know, what is he? Is he a 5th year senior or 4th year? I don't know what he is, but he's not exactly brand new. He's brand new as a starter at left tackle, but still, and I don't think he's been hit. I think he's been hit with maybe 2 penalties. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. But you do have some new receivers there. You've been called for holding downfield. Some of these penalties are, again, happening on special teams. Defense has been getting hit with these, the hands to the face mask. I think that is the dumbest penalty. I can understand if you're yanking someone's helmet. Okay, sure, that's a flag. I mean, who was it? Jackson? They hit Jackson because he pushed the guy's pads. He pushed the guy's pads up into his face, and because his face rocked back, they hit him with a flag. Some of that stuff I get. I do think there's been some snowflakery amongst these officials on some of these calls. But it's still some of it, a lot of it, it's just inexcusable. Got to cut down on these penalties, man. Don't let the officials have that opportunity. Total offense, Arkansas rocking it. 500 yards per game, 19th in the country, baby. 1,500 total yards, nearly 7 yards per play. 6.7 to be exact. 14 total offensive touchdowns just through 3 games. 19th in the country. Scoring offense is middle of the road. It's not bad when you talk about total scoring. Some of that's just finishing drives, watching out on penalties, and turning the football over. They're turning the ball over way too damn much, and they're not getting takeaways like I was hoping they would do this year. When you look at 17 sacks, you would think they would have a couple more, at least a couple more picks, a couple more forced fumbles, But that's okay, though. The fact that they've got 17 sacks, oh, my Lord. I'm just going to take it where I can get it, baby. Because I've been saying the last 2 years, what have I been saying? They're not getting to the damn quarterback enough, but they are this year. So I am giving them a standing ovation on the defensive line. I would like for the scoring offense. Yeah, I mean, you're at 37.7. That's now about average. That's now like, yeah, okay, yeah. We'll see as the year, and I should say, too, at this point in the year, if you stay at about 38 points a game as the year goes on, then, yeah, you're going to end up you're going to end up pretty high in terms of where you rank. But what matters is winning games, right? That's what matters the most. You push all these stats over the edge. Who cares if you're winning games? But these things do need to be pointed out. I like where they're headed in some areas. I do. Defensively, there's just as much to be concerned about as there is to be excited about. So, Pittman's answer to why they ran that play is hilarious. Yeah, it is. Hutch asked that question. I thought it was a perfectly legitimate question, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Fun fact, KJ Jefferson is averaging 313 yards of offensive production per game, while A&M is averaging 313 yards as a team. Yeah, no, that's correct. They have not been good on offense at all. They just have not been they've not been good on offense. Like, again, this is a weekend where, like, to me, that doesn't matter because of just how bad they've been at tackling and the plays they're giving up downfield. 3rd down 17 against South Carolina. 3rd down 17, man. Touchdown, 60-something yards downfield. 4th and 1. 4th and 1. You understand giving up a first down there. Okay, 4th and 1, whatever. It's Bobby Petrino. What does he do? Something we saw in Fayetteville. Doink. I don't know how far the touchdown was down the field. What was it, 40 yards or something? I could be wrong. But touchdown, 4th and 1. That stuff has got to stop. Like, come on, man. I mean, this is year 3. That stuff, I don't know. I like Coach Odom. I'm definitely not calling for the guy's job like some people in our Discord were doing. And some fans on Twitter not calling for the guy's job. Some of that stuff is, oh, man. And, yeah, injuries do matter, right? Not having guys out on the field matters. Breaking in the newbies matters. But, yeah, come on. We're seeing big plays. We're seeing missed tackles. And I don't even put all that on him. I mean, at the end of the day, Sam is the one making the call to not be so physical during practice. But, yeah. And I understand his position on that. I do. Like, we want to be healthy, and I get it. But it is showing up. The lack of tackling, the lack of physicality through fall camp is showing up. So, oh, okay. What is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still live. Yeah. All right. Being told by my producer, the executive producer, it's time to wrap it up, a.k.a. the wife. Brooks Jones, we'll get out on this. But remember, we scored a touchdown on Bama and Saban last year. Sometimes trick plays can work. Oh, right. Yeah, they can. But it's still there's still some chunk plays that gain chunk, or I should say big plays that get chunk yardage that just shouldn't be happening. Not a quote-unquote year 3 thing. Yeah, I think some of it is. Yeah, I think we're going to have to disagree there, Brooks. I think, you've got guys on the field, Bumper Pool, Hudson Clark, Simeon Blair, guys that have been here a while, Nichols, like that stuff shouldn't be happening. And it has. It's happened more than once. It's happened several times in terms of just the big plays. And then that's, happening on 4th and 1 or the 3rd and 17 versus Rattler against South Carolina, which ended up going 60-something yards. How much of that is just not being at the right place at the right time? I'm sure there's some of that. But, no, I think, one time is one thing, but it's happened a little too often. We need to take some deep shots to Landers. I hope that guy had a great game. He had a great game last week. And Sam talked about, Coach Pittman talked about his he was just down in the dumps after the South Carolina game. We all know why. He had that drop, and apparently he was really, bummed out by that. And look how he responded, man. That tells you something. There's some maturity going on there, and you love to see that. I feel you, says Brooks. Yeah, I mean, look, sometimes things are going to happen, Brooks, and it's like, busted coverage. But when it happens, a little more often than you would like, and you're giving up these big chunk plays, and again, it's not always just someone out of position. It is missed tackles. Those 2 plays weren't, though. I also love the physicality from Hazelwood. Oh, my gosh. When he slung that guy on the sidelines, oh, my gosh, dude. I'm excited, man. I'm sticking with my 8-4, but, like, I really feel like I'm leaning towards maybe I'm coming back around to 9 wins. The secondary thing I think will get cleaned up. I don't think it's going to be night and day. It might take 2 or 3 games. I think they're going to slowly get that cleaned up. The penalties, I think they're going to get cleaned up. You know, I mean, they kind of have to, right? The turnovers against Missouri State, I don't see that. I hope to God that's not the norm. But if you look at who's fumbled the ball, right, it's been KJ, Sanders. There's one more. Did Hazelwood fumble the ball once? Someone fumbled. Catron, maybe? I know Sanders, KJ did. There's one more personnel on offense that's fumbled the ball. But those are guys, they don't have a reputation for turning the ball over a lot. I think they're going to clean this stuff up. And look, the sacks, yeah, that number's going to come down. They're definitely not going to be at the top all year long. That just won't happen. They got to keep some guys healthy. That's what's key here, you know, and the whole quality depth thing and everything. But I feel pretty good about this team, man. I mean, people call me negative. That's fine. I'm just telling you what I think, and if you want to call me negative, that's whatever. And then you've got the other side of the aisle that call me a sunshine pumper. I don't give a shit. I feel pretty good about this football team. That's not me as a fan. That's me pulling myself out of it as a quote-unquote media member and just looking at what I've seen, looking at the stats, putting it all together, talking to other media members, talking to people like Dudley Dawson, Otis Kirk, you name it. You know, I feel pretty good about this team. Again, not saying they're going and winning 10, 11 games, but I feel like the ceiling is raising just a little bit. And depending on what they do this weekend, this game could really, I mean, it will. It'll have an impact on what you do the rest of the year, but maybe not as big of an impact as we all expect it to have if whatever happens, right? You feel like, obviously, if you win, yeah. This was the game I picked Arkansas to lose at the beginning of the year. I said they're going to lose this game. I think A&M's probably 9-3 at best, 10-2 at their best. They're 10-2. But I thought they were 9-3, maybe 8-4. But they just had Arkansas's number for so long up until last year down in Arlington. It's hard for me to see them winning this game back-to-back years. But something I said at the time was their quarterback play. We'll talk more about A&M on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. Don't forget, tomorrow, actually, 11 o'clock, I'm going to have – who is coming on with me tomorrow? Otis, I think. I think Otis is going to join me tomorrow, 11 o'clock on Hogville Net YouTube. So you guys make sure you're subscribed and everything. Get those likes up. Come on now. I know we can get some more likes. I'm not logging off till we hit, let's say, 40 likes. There's someone in here. There's at least 8 people who haven't slapped that like button around a little bit. Give it a stone cold stunner. Tombstone pile driver. We may not hit 40 likes. A lot of you probably have your phone down and you're off doing something. That's all right. Okay, let's set a new number. Well, no, we're okay. There's 34. I got A&M, BYU, and Auburn that has our number. BYU, I know they just lost on the road. I get it. To Oregon. Boy, walking into their place and coming away with a win. I'm still nervous about that game. I feel a little bit better. You feel like, are they contenders or are they pretenders? They got a brutal schedule. They definitely looked pretenderish to me. If you can't perform away from home, you're a pretender. There we go, 40 likes. Boom, 41. You guys keep going. If you are a Patreon supporter, make sure, if you haven't already, DM me your name and a mailing address so I can get you this sticker. I don't have one with me. My wife and I recorded a video, her idea, by the way, recorded a video of her, putting her sticker on the back of her car. I had a couple people ask me just how exactly do you apply this particular sticker. They're not all the same. Some of them you got to peel off. Some of them just come right off and you slap them on. This one, you got to be a little careful, right? There's a lot of little parts to the sticker. So not a lot. There's a couple, I should say. I'm exaggerating. Not a lot. But if you want one, you got to be a Patreon supporter. Make sure if you want one, again, go be a Patreon supporter and shoot me either a Discord DM. If you're friends with me on Facebook, hit me up there. But remember, I need your name, and it's got to match your name on Patreon and an address. I need a mailing address. So, boy, the wife gonna pile drive you if you don't get moving. Yeah, you're not wrong. I do. All right. I do appreciate you guys. I'll see some of you tomorrow on Hogville Net YouTube. All right. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Woo pig.